What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. Let's cover a bunch of stuff because the market took an absolute nuke bloodbath yesterday. So I want to cover some majors, then get into a few altcoins as usual, and then a bunch of different updates within the market because we got a lot of stuff to talk about with the Solana meme pad wars or the Launchpad wars, whatever you want to call it. Because, we got HeavenX up right here, which is a brand new launchpad. I want to cover a little bit about this. Then we got Bioagents potentially launching fairly soon, and a couple other things. So, we will start with the classic, where we cover Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, a couple alts. Then we'll get into all of that stuff. So, Bitcoin here, to me, guys, is not showing the same kind of strength that it has shown now for a long time. Technically speaking, I would say it is still in an uptrend. Over the last couple years now, it is just continuously moving higher and lower until we have this very heavy sell off over the last couple days here. Like, in my opinion, does this mean that we are going to zero? Bitcoin is going to 12K next week? No, it is. As of right now, this does not mean fully anything yet, but I mentioned this in our Discord yesterday. There's now, because of the heavy sell pressure, this is where things could start to potentially take a turn. And I don't mean, again, a turn like the market is topped and we're never going back up for another 5 years. But there could be things happening in the market now where Bitcoin may slow down, but we still may start to see ETH accelerate. And I'll get into this in a second because actually, this is the Bitcoin chart I want to pull up. For Bitcoin here, there are mainly two scenarios that I'm looking at. And this would be just on the downside side of things. Or if things are going to continue down, we could see Bitcoin actually hold where it is and attempt to push back higher. What that would mean is that Bitcoin is now consolidating in this little range. And again, I think for Bitcoin, if it is going to hold this, I would like to see the momentum pick up. But you can even see this here. This is where it could be looking somewhat questionable, where if momentum really did pick up, to see this push into yet another all-time high after this kind of nuke, I don't know very short term if that's going to be very realistic right now. But aside from that, if we chop and continue to move back up with a lot of buy pressure, that could easily be changed. But for now, I'm watching Bitcoin 1 in this area, seeing if it's going to hold and chop. Or 2, maybe we chop and we continue to go down. And worst case, I think this would be a lot more bullish for Bitcoin in a medium time frame, is if it actually came down a little bit further and then continued to show strength, trying to attempt back up from there. But price action wise, guys, in my opinion, is not looking nearly as good as it did before. I'm not trying to flip bearish. I'm just looking at price action as it's giving me the data, right? Now technically a lot of people are like, oh, this broke the trend, bro, it's over. Not necessarily every time does that mean that this is now just over. It's been holding a trend for a very long time. That's kind of why I have this, this kind of major white line. Because it's not perfect, but it holds the general trajectory of Bitcoin in this major uptrend over the last, literally 2 years. And it's still technically holding. So again, I'm not saying it's over. We could continue to go back higher, but on Bitcoin's side right now, it is not looking as bullish as it did even a week ago, a couple weeks ago. But the argument now I have to this, which I think is very bullish for altcoins, is regardless of Bitcoin, what it's doing, guys, we're seeing the dominance continue to nuke. And you can see it today. This is on a daily. This is not a short time frame. This is a very high time frame. This is in a completely clear, very solid downtrend, which is very bullish for our bags, for our altcoins, right? So the argument against what I'm talking about with Bitcoin here is that even if Bitcoin is not going to hold in the short term, even medium term, and we do continue to chop for a while, it is still going to be ETH or time for ETH and altcoins as long as the dominance continues to drop and we start to see Ethereum truly break into an all-time high. And I've been saying this now for a while, as long as this trend was broken, which in my personal opinion it clearly has been, if we come down there, our first stop is going to be, I think, in this general range of price here, anywhere in this range. Because I personally, when I use support and resistance, I'm not using a tiny trend, it's a major range. So anywhere between 55.5% to about 54%. Price could actually come back down, chop, bounce. Maybe we get a price to move back up, and then it's even more of a rejection if we're gonna drop like that, right? That's what I'm expecting, but some sort of interaction with price here. Before that, I think it's just gonna go straight down in very short-term downtrend, just very clean holding levels if we're gonna continue, right? But if we just break past this area, I mean, you can just see the different levels we got, right? I mean, the most clear, most obvious, I think that we will also have some sort of, movement within or a true, not rejection, but a bounce at would be probably around 48%. And if we do, for some reason, get Bitcoin dominance nuking all the way down, which I actually don't think it's going this low at all this cycle, would be around 30 to 40%. That would be crazy. But I really think our altcoin season is going to be between current levels around 60% to about 46 to 48. I think that's very reasonable for this alt season. But who knows? We could continue lower. Maybe it's a little less than that, but that's kind of what I'm targeting. This is kind of my end area for Bitcoin dominance here. But nonetheless, that's why even with Bitcoin's price action doing what it's doing, it still seems pretty solid. And as long as Bitcoin dominance continues to nuke, ETH dominance continues to rise, go on a bull trend, and Sol dominance continues to rise, I think altcoins are going to be looking very good. And so ETH here too. The reason why I'm still bullish on ETH completely is we are literally just ranging between the cycle high general area, right? 4,000 and the previous cycle all-time high. That's it. Very easy to understand and watch. I was thinking maybe ETH was going to come down a little deeper into this channel or support rather, and then go back into a push higher, but seems like we just tapped the literal top of that. So nonetheless, very short term, we'll probably see more volatility. Maybe it does come down a little more before it just attempts to push back up. We're still in this major impulsive type move. And to me, a lot of people are thinking, oh, we get one single rejection here, ETH is done. In my opinion, no. It's actually the complete opposite. Sometimes price will actually hit multiple times and eventually break through that because we are still in an uptrend. Yes, it rejected that point, but look at this trend. It is still very clear to the upside. If we had 3 rejections where price attempted, failed again, failed a third time, and momentum was now trickling to the downside, then yes, I'd be completely saying ETH is definitely going lower here. But because we've only hit it one time, we bounced, and we probably are going to attempt at least to go back to all-time high again. I would say in the shorter term, until we get multiple heavy rejections on a high time frame like a daily. I'm not looking at a 10-minute chart, a 30-minute chart, a 5-minute chart. We're not on, Dex Screener right now. So as long as, we can see even another rejection, but momentum continues to follow this very strong impulse, I'm still bullish on ETH. That's what I'm waiting for, a clear break of this, and very much so a multiple signs of rejection and weakness from ETH at where it is currently. Still looks good to me, so I'm not touching anything here. Solana, same thing still. I'm not really looking at Sol like that. If ETH really runs, Solana at some point is going to run too, no doubt. At a minimum back to probably 250, 260, I would think. If not, break into a new high. But Same thing. I'm not watching Soul like that. It's literally it's up to ETH right now to just do what it's got to do. So let's cover a bunch of the meme launch pads because we have this new one called HeavenX that has been currently, taking the degen market by storm lately, which is funny because I saw this I saw their pre-sale, and I think their pre-sale is actually like kind of went shaky too because their site had some issues or something like that. Then their launch was kind of shaky as well. And I remember seeing this day one. Liquidity was messed up. On deck screen released, also messed up. I think things definitely weren't looking too good for it the first couple days, but it's Solana. When you get a new launchpad that has decent token mechanisms, it'll eventually, I guess, they just run regardless. So HeavenX though, I think shaky launch, but this has had a pretty good run so far. I mean, very good run as far as the chart. But if we look at the meme coin wars, they're actually second now across the board. And this is mainly what I wanted to talk about. I'm not going to get into a bunch of these HeavenX meme coins. Like, I personally do not care about this eco like that. Same exact mentality I had with the Bonk eco. I'm going to tell you guys, this market just moves in short-term attention. That's all it is. At some point, the attention for this HeavenX, I don't care if it's in 2 days, 2 weeks from now, this will be dead at some point. Yes, short-term HeavenX right here. It could run. It could keep going. It is what it is. But the thing is it seems like the market over time just keeps coming back to pump. Always reverts back to pump. This Bonk, everyone was like, pump is dead. Pump is awful. Bonk is the new wave for what? A couple weeks here? Until what happened? Market just, died out. That hype wave that it had completely just wiped itself off. And pump was back. Literally, look at this. Within a couple days span where Bonk was still the top from, what is that? August? That's August, right? Yeah, look at that. 4 days. Went from Let's Bonk still being the top narrative. 3 days later, Pump is back as king. And now we're seeing within a couple days, HeavenX now, within less than a week from launch, is now over Bonk, over Moonshot, over Believe, Jupiter Studio now. Heaven is now the second. I wouldn't be surprised to see if HeavenX over the next week from now too, potentially even overtakes Pump. And we'll see the timeline saying, oh, HeavenX, this is the best pump, or next pump launchpad rather. Same thing though. Is it gonna last? No clue, and I don't think it will. And eventually people are going to revert back to pump. And also the reason why though is this is kind of like a public coin I've been talking about for a while now, guys. This is not gonna be, well, bottom line with pump here. I've been saying this for a while. I think pump is going to be the easiest trade of the cycle. And because of such short-term attention spans on Solana, people, everyone's super bearish on pump in many ways. The founders consistently dumping on heads, dumping on everyone, not really doing too much for tokens, for the eco, whatever. But many forget, my fault. Many forget that the best marketing in crypto, though, is what? God candles, green candles. When people see those candles, they completely forget what they were fucking fudding the previous coin about, right? Same exact thing will happen with pump. So the more FUD that this gets, in my opinion, the better the entry. And right now, could be a potential entry for it. The thing is I cannot tell, and it's very hard because my bias on this, I still want it to come down further, but it doesn't look like it wants to dump and make another low yet. The only reason why I've had this bias though too is because apparently they have an airdrop at some point, but there's been no announcement, there's been no nothing about it. So no one knows if and when that will happen, for any sort of airdrop. But if it does, I honestly would expect a lot of people to be selling that airdrop instantly right at market. That is why I've had this bias that it will make another low, because a lot of people on Sol, I know how people can only hold for more than, what, 30 seconds to a minute, couple minutes max. You know, most people are going to nuke their airdrop the second it hits their wallet. And that's what I've been waiting to price in within the pump token, but it doesn't look like it's happened yet because there's no announcement for when that will happen. That has been my main worry with this token, though, because it's like, even if we do catch the bottom, unless an airdrop just happens to be announced in a week from now, right? And then it happens, then we caught the bottom, and then a week later it makes a new low. That is the only issue I have with pump right now. But aside from that, I think pump is going to be a very good trade. I mean, even if you're looking to buy a spot, I think just DCAing while it's low, and the lower it goes, another DCA. I think that's probably the best way to be playing it, because bottom line, this happens with 95% of coins in the market is when they launch. If they launch with a ton of hype, they will go down only for a while. If they launch with no hype, the hype coming into a coin is what drives price. But if the hype is already there, that's when the hype is going to die or make the coin die out. But so, with pump, it launched with a ton of hype. So it might die out for a while too until it makes a huge run. But whether it's you want to buy a spot or you're trying to take a leverage trade on this, I think just potentially DCAing entries is probably your best bet while it is at a close to an all-time low. Again, I'm basically drawing it out. This is what I will be doing. But personally, I'm not in pump yet, and I'm still waiting for more confirmation. But at this point, this does look like a potential area for an entry. But outside of that, that's what I wanted to cover with pump, because you guys just have to understand with these launch pads, you're dealing with Solana degens. 95% of people that they don't really know, they're not fully trading, they don't know how to trade, they're not fully know what they're doing. They're just speculating on all these memes, right? So it's like the attention span within degen mode or degen city here. It's a lot different, I feel like, than full out trading a lot of these majors and stuff like that. So I don't know. Very interesting though, seeing this stuff happen and play out. But bottom line is just, yeah, these launch pads are just super risky to me. But at the same point, I think the opportunity is just where all of the degens are playing in the market. It's been my thesis for over a year now. If you can front run the, not degens, but crypto Twitter basically, that's where the money is made. And I think in pump right now, if and when it does bottom, that is going to be a huge opportunity. And I think when mindshare falls off of pump, that's where the opportunity becomes even more apparent. Because then when it comes right back like it did here, right? A lot of different coins got more traction again that were under the radar for a month. Same thing as if HeavenX takes more from pump, at some point it's just going to revert back. That's how I look at it. So we'll see what happens. But as far as majors too, guys, most of the coins are on my radar, and we got Ray, huge capitulation across the board. RSI is as low as it was all the way back in March and not even April, yeah, just March. So this to me is a very good long-term entry. I have not fully bought right here yet, but I want to be scaling back into this. Still one of my favorite plays on base right now. And also, guys, Mask on Sol. This is still one of my favorite meme coins. Nothing has changed. But, I've seen a lot of people consistently bullish on other meme coins too, across the board, from bonk coins to all these different coins, guys. This is why I tell everyone, though, if your meme coin has not pulled an 80 to 90% downside move, I will not even look at it. This happens to every single coin in the market. We have a coin go up, coin nukes, and then it will sit sideways. Mask has gone through the entire accumulation now for months. So in my personal opinion, for something like Mask, and there's a ton of other coins like it too, it is just a matter of time before price and the momentum start to pick up very hard, and the market has probably seen this coin 55 times already over the last few months. People are aware of it, but it's only a matter of time before the momentum picks up. And once it starts, the market can't slow it down. You have an entire cult that's accumulated a chunk of supply that aren't going to be selling for 20% gains. Happens with every single coin. It's eventually, once that momentum picks up, it just will take off. And that's my personal belief still with Mask and a ton of other coins in the market, especially newer low cap cults that, have been just sideways for months. I just think it's inevitable for a lot of these coins, and not just on Pump, because I feel like on Bonk right now, even Bonk Eco, if you want to look at all these different memes, same thing. They were hype. Excuse me. They were hyped for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Most of them have now died out, and they're sitting like this. They are starting this right here. And this is what I talk about, and this is why I'm so avid about this with memes. You should not be looking at memes long term at launch. You should not be aping a coin, aiming to hold it for 6 months at launch. Wait for it to run, capitulate, and then accumulate. Aim for a long term hold once it's accumulating. We're seeing this across the board with a ton of memes. And that's it. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to go into this. I feel like I talk about that every video. I try to make that as the most apparent thing. Like, if you're looking at a meme coin and you don't know what it's sitting at, you don't know what it's doing, look at it from a daily time frame. Don't look at it from a 5 minute or a 15. Hit a daily. What does the chart look like? Is it sideways or is it up only? If it's up only, you should not be buying that thinking it's going to 50x from there. That's it. It's as easy as that. What is light doing? Look at this. So is this a good buy? Technically it could be. Or would you rather buy a chart that looks like this? That is sitting with incredible fundamentals down here and taking that risk. It's as simple as that, guys. Zoom out. Zoom out in this market, because most people do not. This is the chart they look at. Zoom out. So that's what I got for you guys today. Oh no, I'm sorry. A couple other things too. My fault. So no, we still got a little more. We got Bio here. Because Bio has been the one coin I have been so butthurt about. This thing continues to run. From our video on YouTube, I think it was literally down here, and it has been up only since. But personally, I'm not even in Bio. I sold it initially because I was very interested though in all the Launchpad stuff. When they have their Launchpad coming right now, and their first launch is actually going to be fairly soon. And this is going to be, I believe, their first launch. AUBRAI. Aubrey. There's no website. But I guess, I don't know if this person here, I assume this is who's behind it. But I don't know. So, oh no, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. But so personally, I've not looked fully into this yet, but I know for a fact that this will be one of the first launches, if not the first launch. And I do think that these Bioagent launches are going to be fairly strong. But it's going to really matter mainly on the first Bioagent launch. If the first launch is solid, then we're going to see this entire Bio eco cook like crazy. And Bio will probably continue. And it's like they're paired with Bio. These Bio agents are going to be on base paired with it. Same exact mechanism that I looked at for Virtual, for Zora. Same thing. This thing will probably continue, aside from chopping. Maybe it keeps running a little bit, my fault. But if these do cook, this is going to be another next Virtual play. Again, this is why I'm so bullish on Zora, guys, and continue to be. Zora, aside from like dips, this is still going to go, in my personal opinion, a lot higher. Zora is not over by any means. It's still very early for it. So I don't know. I feel like I just kind of cracked the code for finding what, the real next major movers are in the market over the last couple weeks here, couple months. Through my research in the last 6 months, and it's, as of right now, the reason why I'm so mad is because there's only legitimately less than 5 coins in the market that operate underneath the way that I'm researching. 5 coins: Virtual, Bio, Zora, and I actually think that's mainly it. Literally 3 that have incredible potential. Those 3, and it's like I knew Zora would run, I knew Bio would run. I psyched myself out of it. So that's all I'm watching in the market, guys, right now. Mainly those 3. Oh, and the thing is too, what's interesting, what do these have in common? They're launch pads. Launch pads, but they are totally different than meme coin launch pads. They have something unique coming to the market. They have liquidity pairing. They have mechanisms that actually drive value into their token. Same kind of research, guys. It's like I made video. I'll probably pull it up. I made a video 6, 7 months ago. I'll put it up here. Talking about why virtual protocol was so successful, and it's the same exact idea behind Zora and Bio. And that kind of research from that long ago is paying off. Just watching these coins run. So that's what I got for you guys today. I'm not going to cover our major alts, even like BitTensor, whatever. BitTensor looks great. Nothing's changed. Literally nothing has changed in my mind for any of these coins. It's just the market chopping, doing what it's got to do. ETH is looking pretty good, though. Kind of cranking again. But outside of that, guys, I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. I got a robotics update video coming in the next 24 to 48 hours. So that's going to be a pretty packed video. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys later. Thanks.